and to walk with them. And no matter how hard it could be, no matter how difficult it can be, and no matter whether you want to face it or not, to have a support system, to have someone there, to be there and to fly down to be, to be with your daughter and to take care of her, that not only speaks volume of your fatherhood, being a dad, but it also speaks volume of the love you have, because it's hard for us to show unconditional love. It seems most of all is conditional. It has to be this or this way or that way. But when you show unconditional love, I believe personally that only healing comes out of that, not unconditional love, but healing. And the moment that we take on that unconditional love and we take the time and we make the effort and we learn what we can learn about that person, then the healing process will start. And it's up to us to keep it going. And you share a lot about your daughter and your friends, and how has all of this affected your family as well? Because you have boys, and so was any of all of this a hard thing for you to deal with, along with your daughter and your boys you have?
You any parent don't like to be vulnerable. They, your kids see you as this type of icon where, you can do anything, and you pick them up when they fall. You have the right answers to, their questions. You give them their advice. You teach them how to drive. But you also want to protect them from certain things that, like on a need-to-know basis. So all I told them was, that she was sick, but she's getting better, and I didn't tell them the nature of it, and I didn't want them to worry. And but she was ill, and now she's getting better, and I make sure that they talk, and I think that's a healing process for her also, to hear from them, and it reassures them that she's doing okay. It's really hard sometimes to talk about certain aspects of your life, even though how can people pray for you? They don't know what situation. Well, you always don't have to know people's situations to pray for them, and I think we lose that. Well, God likes specificity. We need to pray for a specific. Well, you can pray for a healing, but you don't need to know what the healing from. He knows. Pray for a job. Whatever job it is, if it's the right job for you, we don't have. He doesn't. God knows specifically what's in your heart, what you need. So when it came to expressing, I did tell certain family members about her condition. Only the people that I knew could get a prayer through, that had a relationship with God and know they would definitely pray for her when they said they would. And I believe that their prayers has helped her through. I know people at my church. I spoke to a couple, and they have prayed for her and constantly ask about how she's doing, and the praise report that I always give them, and we're all rejoicing in that. But I think you get to a point, Opal, where you don't try to focus on what the condition is, but look forward to the day where the victory will come in. And too much of the time, I think when we hear bad news, we focus on, this has happened to that person, this has happened to that person, and stuff. But we'll say, your condition is not unto death. The Lord has told me that. And it's not just for you. It's for everybody who's around you who will benefit from that. And if I didn't believe that, I think I would have drove myself into a frenzy, and probably would have drove herself into a frenzy. But you got to believe, and what you say you believe in, and you can't waver on that. And even if God did not heal her, you still have to believe that He is a healer. It was just her time, but we can all learn from that, and other people can be healed from experiences.
That's true. That's true. Because I have a couple of friends. Just recently, I was talking to one particular young lady, and she's dealing with her mother is very ill, and the helplessness that you do feel, because you mentioned that before about wanting to help. Because I just wanted to go in, and I didn't want to see her cry, and I didn't want to see her, feeling sad, and I just want to just go in and be that superwoman and just wipe away all her tears and stuff. But as I sat there and I listened to her talk, and I allowed her to express her feelings and express her desires and what she was going through, it just blessed me to hear how she can share the love of her mother to that degree. And it just reminded me of my mom, who's 89 years old. And it just like, wow, okay, I get it. And we don't normally think like that. We don't normally think that, oh, well,
right.
This person's going through something. Wow, we got to go and hurry up and save them. We got to get, no, we don't want you to go through. We don't look at it as, wow, this is teaching me to go and ask for forgiveness for my mom, because I didn't have I did something or I said something wrong, and I never went back and asked her to forgive me, or, anything that was going on, or just going back and spending time,
I think you're right on the right path. I think a lot of the situations where God presents us, you ask the question, what is He trying to tell us? Mm-hmm. And as you can hear in my voice, I'm in church all the time, so that's all I know. Mm-hmm. But I think in every situation, either it happens on your job or something happens. What is God trying to tell us? And my parents are still here. My father's 83, my mom's 80, and they have a lot of health challenges, but, they still get out and they drive and they go to church. Their eyesight's good. Just little things that comes with age. I know they don't tell me everything, but there's been some time where my mom has, her blood pressure will go up and stuff, and I'm 2 hours away from her, and all I got to do is get in the car, is a no-brainer, go up, and because I just need to see that she's okay. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'll just talk to her on the phone and she'll say, don't come. And sometimes I'll show up at 1 o'clock in the morning and I'll be standing next to her because, one, I need to know she's okay, which does, good for me. And then I know it does good for her that, her son, because I'm one of 8. I'm next to the youngest. All my parents, all kids, and that's unheard of in this day of time, that, all your brothers and sisters are still around, your parents are doing fine, mm-hmm. and, none of us has ever been in trouble. But, as far as, when you're dealing with your helplessness type of thing that we keep going back on, when you get to the point where you feel like you can't help, there's always somebody who can help. Mm-hmm. And even if you have to get on your knees and ask God for help, that takes away that helplessness. Mm-hmm. That's something that we all can do. So I had to learn that, the hard way. Instead of walking around with my head down and saying there's nothing I can do and this is all my fault if I only had been there and things like that. And, you got to, tell yourself that you can't control everything, mm-hmm. and you never will.
That's true. That is so true. Because we oh my God, that is so true. Because that's one thing about guilt. Guilt will keep you in a spot where you will constantly condemn yourself. You will constantly beat up yourself, and mm-hmm. you won't see how you can really be a blessing and a help to that person.
Right.
Absolutely
right.
And it also causes you to constantly keep you locked up in the past and never enjoy right now and never enjoy the present time.
Oh, that's deep, girl.
Oh, I'm getting deep right now.
I like that.
So.
That's deep, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that. It will keep you, in the past. How can you go forward if you're dragging that baggage mm-hmm. behind you? and you're right, you gotta let it go, and that also affects your health. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't had any really major health challenges in my life. I've had what 2 or 3 minor surgery, knee, elbow, and something else. I don't remember what it is, but nothing really major that I had to stay in the hospital for, and I'm thankful for that. But but I've been around a lot of people who've had a lot of health challenges. Recently, a friend of mine, actually next month is a year, a friend of mine's wife, we all went to high school together, and she passed away, from cancer. And it was a hard thing. I mean, how do you tell your friend who was married to the love of his life for more than 25 years that everything is going to be okay? And sometimes you're just lost for words, from that. So what I tried to do is I didn't try to, sometimes we do, we'll say, well, let's just give them time to heal. No, I stayed on them, and I was calling them every week and checking on him. His daughter had got married 2 months before that, and she was able to be there for that, and then she just declined. After that, God kept her around to see her oldest daughter, get married, and we were all there for that, and that was last August. But I just recently talked to him, and he's doing well, and but with time, all wounds can be healed, but it does take time for that. But instead of just leaving him alone, I just stayed on him and stuff, and he always appreciated that I stayed in touch with him, and because he ran into we grew up together in high school. We ran in different circles and stuff like that, but we all got mutual friends,
Mm-hmm.
and these things bring you closer together, and I got some really good friends from school that I'm still very close to, and when things happen and stuff, they give me a call, and they know that I'm always concerned about them. But yeah, when you drag that baggage behind you of pulling away, yeah, that can take a toll on you as well, because then again you're like, I could have done more, and then but then we see people 2-3 years later and say, I should have called you more. And if they're good friends, it'd be like, because I got friends that I don't talk to all the time, but when I
Mm-hmm.
see them, it's just like we just saw each other yesterday. And not everybody's like that, but if you care enough, yeah, you'll reach out, and they'll be appreciative for that. And it does you well, and it does them well too. So I totally agree with that statement.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you very much for agreeing with me about that. And it's just so vital to understand what guilt is. It's not a friend. It's not something that we can just hang out and have it or hang around us and stuff. It's not beneficial to us at all. But the moment we realize that we've done all we can do, and we're here now, this is now, and then we can move forward on our journey
Mm-hmm.
to healing.
Yes.
And Kevin, I have one more thing before we have to go. Is there anything else that I know you shared a lot, but is there anything you would like to leave with our listeners in less than a minute?
I would just say to anybody who's out there who may be experiencing, some tests and some trials, either with themselves or close relatives or friends, nothing is ever final until God says it's final.
Mm-hmm.
We keep pressing on. We don't give up until there's nothing left to do. There's always something left to do. There's always something left to say. And when you can't say anything, you can always get on your knees and pray. He listens to you. And if we pray with a open heart and an open mind, and God can do wonders for us all, not only for us individually, but those who are around us. And we pray so much for other meaningless things, but when we pray for those things that really mean something, those are the miracles we love seeing. And people pray for jobs and cars and money and things like that. Those things are fleeting.
Yes.
But when you pray for no more babies dying and the healings of a friend, and it's not about you, but it's about others, those are the miracles that we love seeing.
Well,
So I
Kevin,
would just say,